Hey Rosina,
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
Ready for the holidays. So,
Holidays, yes, yes. Well, thank you for taking the time out during this busy part of the year to chat with me. I wanted to have this conversation with you because you have done such a great job with your transformation, and I think your story would really resonate with a lot of people, especially moms with young kids. I know how challenging it can be, and you seem to be able to navigate all that and still do amazing. So just wanted to have a quick chat to hear about your experience and hopefully it can help others as well.
perfect.
Um, just to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, what you do?
Okay, so I currently work in aviation as a cargo sales manager. So I'm out and about, seeing clients all the time. I've been doing that for probably about 5 years. I'm a mom to a very hyper busy 4.5-year-old boy, as you know. So definitely just, never a dull day, always busy doing things. With that said, also, I feel like sometimes uh, taking care of myself always kind of got put on the back burner. So, hence why I'm here, just trying to prioritize myself and my health. I know just in having a baby and taking care of one and going through COVID times with this as well, lifestyles changed. You gain weight. Just life happened. So here I am. And happy to have finally kind of stumbled upon this program. I know I've done it before, but stumbled upon it again and actually worked on it and got some awesome results.
Thank you. Thanks, Rosie, for that intro. I guess can you describe more of uh the struggles, the challenges that you had? As a mom, I know um everyone has their own unique situation, so I'd love to if you could talk about yours.
Sure. I will say I struggled with it as a kid as well. I would always yo-yo, and I think that was just maybe it's a cultural thing where just, everything is kind of centered around food. Not to say it wasn't centered around physical activity, but it wasn't really stressed. So it was this kind of fight where, there was always this need to have to look good for society and being told you have to be a certain way and look a certain way. But then there was also like, well, why aren't you eating more food? Do you not like my food? Here, eat more.
Right.
And that was just, the general culture, right? Of like, everybody cooks and you must eat. And if you don't, it's offensive, right? So, I always associated food with a lot of things, happiness, sadness, whatever the case was, you were eating for some occasion or the other. And naturally, just going through life, I gained weight. I was just, one of many cousins in the family where I was just always the heavier one. And so it's constantly been like a struggle throughout life of constantly trying to find something that would make me, lose weight, if you will, or look good or go to the gym. Um, and sometimes it worked, but it wasn't always sustainable. I mean, you try the fad diets, you try everything. Um, and then, for a while I was able to keep my weight off. I was just pretty consistent. Probably I'd say right through my 30s. And then life changed again, right? So I do struggle again with eating. That's kind of my coping mechanism with a lot of things. Again, if I'm happy, I eat. If I'm stressed, I eat. If I'm sad, I eat. If I'm bored, I eat.
Right.
Right? It's not about like eating like crazy binge eating, but it's just like you don't really think about what you're putting in your mouth. So I think that's kind of been always been a struggle for me. And then, now fast forward to then having a kid, um, you're just trying to get through every day and trying to get through life. And, so you just grab whatever you can on the go. And it's not something where I was putting too much like thought into what I was eating or trying to, ensure I was getting the proper nutrients or the proper protein amounts or things like that. So that's kind of the struggle that I myself have gone through. It's not something that just kind of came about. It's something I've always kind of been dealing with my whole life. And now I think I hit a point where I just needed to make a change. I think I just hit that rock bottom where I was like, hey, I'm done. My clothes stopped fitting properly. I could see the difference in how I was feeling. I could see it in the mirror. Um, more than the past. Like there was something different about this time, and I kind of hit my heaviest, and I was just like kind of sick and tired by the end of it and needed to make a change. So that was kind of what pushed me, and obviously wanting to be healthy for my family, for my, my son, and that's kind of where I am now. Yeah.
Loved it. I love it. Great why. And I do recall, I think it was around this time last year when you did reach out again. And then you did our January 2024 25 program. And you're looking fantastic. You're looking great here on Zoom. And I've seen you at our party too, and I could see definitely the changes. Um, I guess how did you come about our program or find out about me?
I had done your program once before, I believe in 2018. I think just because I knew you from the salsa scene, I know we ourselves didn't really interact, but you start to see who the regulars are in the salsa scene when you're going out. And I think at some point when you did start working with clients, kind of at the beginning of your transformation or your program, I think I had seen you working with Rob, and I knew Rob from the scene. I was kind of following his transformation, and then I started to see people I knew, like people I danced with, people I knew that were doing it, and not just people that were so-called big or small or health issues. It was just kind of a bit of everybody. And of course, you were posting the photos of their transformations, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. Again, I didn't quite know you personally. I think at some point I had reached out and decided to do the program then. And if I remember correctly, I think I did relatively well on
Yep,
it,
you
although I
did.
may not have still been 100% mentally all in because I was a flight attendant and I was traveling a lot. But I did try and I did see some. So kind of like everything I learned from you in terms of concepts, awareness of what I was and wasn't doing, it all stuck with me even after the program. These things, and I think that's what a lot of people realize is the concepts already. They're not rocket science. They weren't just made up like, they're most people know what they are, but it's truly just like putting them to the test and really applying what you know. So I think throughout those years, as I kind of life happened and I let myself go again, I always knew the concepts in the back of my head. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But did I actually really do it? Did I actually take the time to be like, I need to go back to this? Let me go back to the basics. Let me apply what Gil taught me all those years ago and count my calories and check my macros and make sure I'm getting enough protein and getting my steps in and getting my hydration and my sleep. I kind of all knew it all, but I guess I just didn't. I don't know if I wouldn't say I didn't know how to apply it, but I wasn't applying it again.
Yes.
And I kept saying, and I know I reached out to you a few times to say, yeah, I think I need to talk to you again. Like I just need someone to talk me off a ledge right now. Like I got to figure out what I'm doing without, at that point I wasn't ready to yet rejoin the program. And then I think I kind of hit that point in December, January of last year where I was like, I'm done. Okay, I need to try something different. And if it means going back and trying the program again, I'm going to do it. And I think that was the kind of turning point for me. And I had a lot more dedication um, and hard work put in on the second round than I did on the first round. But I think I was ready. It wasn't easy because now I was doing it not single, where I control everything I eat. I'm only
Right.
cooking for myself. Now it's like, I've got a partner and a child that I now have to kind of cook for as well, not knowing if they were going to just eat what I made or follow suit. So it was definitely a test for me in terms of just like dedication and patience. In knowing that if I was making other food for the rest of the family, I could still make something for myself. Knowing how to say no in situations where you're with family or you're on vacation, and everyone's like, just eat, you're on vacation. That was always the thing for me, right? When I went to see family, just eat, you're on a break, just eat what you want. You can go back and do it later. And it was really shutting off and just being like, you're probably going to hate me for this, but I'm going to stick to my guns. And that's, as you can see, pretty much what I did throughout the program that I think was kind of helped me be a little bit more successful this time. And I think it was being aware of all the social activities that I had and knowing that I could either go off track for a couple of days or I could just stick through it. So, like you said, it was more like real life.
Yes.
Things are going to happen. It's not going to be a perfect everyday plan on how you eat, but it's just now having those concepts and being aware of what you're doing, even if you're out in a social setting.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was really well summed up. And for those who may not know, we don't do any strict dieting or restrictions. I want to enable you guys with the tools and knowledge to do things but then it's up to you to put it in a way that works for you. So whether you want to enjoy a vacation or have that ice cream with Caleb or whatever, right? You can do it, and it's just understanding how to get back on track. And I get what you said about knowing what to do and not always being able to do it. It's totally normal. And it's always like this day and age, we have so much information out there as well, but it's always the action that is what's missing for a lot of things. And you're not alone because I've worked with many moms who weren't moms at the time when they did the program the first time, but life changes, things evolve, and then you kind of just need to revisit a lot of the concepts and then having an accountability partner like myself to move you along. And truthfully, I have my own coaches as well for my own goals that could I do on my own? Possibly, yeah. I know the theory, I know that, but just having that accountability and someone to kind of oversee things and give me direction is very insightful and helpful. And I do work with a lot of health professionals now, and they always tell me the same thing is like, we don't tell our patients to come they come, regularly because things change and they need to see, what can be improved or, if they're moving in the right trajectory for their health. So it's the same thing with this, right? It's just, you can learn a lot and then, you have the tools, but oftentimes life can evolve or change. The things that maybe that you were working on or did before don't always apply anymore, and you just need to refocus and reset. So I do appreciate you sharing that because I think a lot of times people think, oh, you just do it once and it's perfect, but oftentimes you just need to recalibrate and kind of revisit a lot of the concepts and try to apply it to your current situation.
And I will say that, it was also a kind of thing where, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, it's not something I really need to pay for example, whether it's a health coach, whether it's a personal trainer, whether it's a therapist or, a doctor, now you can Google everything, so it's like you can find information yourself, but then it's knowing how to use it and how to apply it to your specific situation. So I know for me, I have a ton of friends that go to the gym and that eat well, and whatever they're doing is working for them. But I think when it's people that are close to you, there's a little bit more emotion involved in there, right? So if somebody's going to tell you you're not eating right or you're not exercising right, I feel like emotion can kind of get involved a little bit more than that, and you kind of take it personally. So I like, at least for me, I like the fact that yes, I took the step to work with you. You're obviously knowledgeable and you've helped so many people. And yes, that does come with a cost associated with it, but that's what you do, right? Is you help people. So I think for me, that helped as well because it kind of took the emotional part out of it. And it was you saying like, look, these are the concepts. This is what we do. There's no judgment. I'm here to help you. That's, kind of what you've tasked me to do. I found that more helpful. And I know people have asked me, how did you stay on track with this? And I said, it makes a very big difference when you put a cost to it, right? To want to stick to it. Otherwise, you feel like you're just kind of throwing it all away as well, right? So if you truly want to make a change and if you truly want the help in whatever practitioner or coach you're going to, then you're more like, you're willing to kind of make that effort a little bit more. Or at least that's the way it worked for me. So
Well, for sure. Same with me. And I always look at it like I always call it an investment, not an expense. So with my own coach too, he's not the cheapest, if you want to call it that, but he does get results and he holds you very accountable. Like I try to hold you guys accountable, and it helps. It helps move the needle forward rather than me just trying to do it on my own. So, uh, no, that's very, very true. I guess if you can. You brushed upon it of what we did, but can you go more into detail, I guess, your experience on the program, how it's different than maybe other approaches that you did, and I guess how did I play a role in your development or your journey and progress?
sure. I will say that I tried a lot of dieting or, different fads myself in terms of what to eat, what not to eat, what to avoid. Don't eat carbs, don't eat fat, eat protein. I tried so many things. I did food tolerance tests. I did everything under the sun to try and kind of make it work myself. Go to the gym. I tried everything. So this is probably the first proper program I've tried. Because again, it wasn't something I ever just wanted to do. I'm like, nah, I could do it myself. I mean, I got personal trainers. I had done that in the past, But in terms of like, I think a properly eating program, I tried Noom for maybe 3 months, and because it was still very like self-driven. I didn't like I had an app telling me what I'm doing and not doing, but I didn't have that kind of what I liked with your program is it was the personalization. So for the Genesis program, I'm talking to you all day, every day. You've become like this best friend that you're like, no, I gotta message him, I gotta message him, I gotta post my pictures, and it just becomes part of your daily life. So that's I think what I liked is it had that structure and you had those little reminders to be like, hey, how's it going? It wasn't a pressure, like, life happens, but you were very much like, hey, did you eat food today? When did you eat it? Can I see some pictures? And you were very honest to be like, okay, I see you were really good to give feedback in a way to be like, okay, I see what you did, but okay, those portions don't look right. Something looks off with the way you've calculated that. Maybe go back and take a look at it and then give suggestions. I think that was the great part is that you were basically holding our hand without pushing too much, and guiding us kind of through the program for anybody that kind of likes that kind of structure. I think it's really good. I mean, obviously, the results of how many people you've coached speak for themselves, right? So I know you're obviously doing something right. I know there's a portion of us having to make the effort ourselves as well, right? You can't just snap your fingers and make sure we look good. Like we have to put the effort in. And I remember you said you have to be accountable. If you're going to eat something you ate McDonald's, tell me you ate McDonald's. I can't fix it if you don't tell me, right? So that's what I think I liked about the program that was different is that constant feedback from a real person saying, and it's personalized. It's not just to the whole group that we're working with to say, you guys should try this. Everybody go and report back what it is. It's you truly worked with our individual lifestyles, our individual styles of eating, right? The food that we eat. It wasn't like go and eat stuff that you don't normally eat. So you really kept it like sustainable. And that's the big thing is how do you keep it sustainable? Right? Um, you created this awareness about certain types of food. Like I remember from the first program I did with you, you always said the devil is in the dose, and that stuck with me even from the first program. So it's really just like, okay, I can eat an avocado, but do I eat a whole avocado or do I eat a quarter of an avocado? Like you really just have to be conscious of what it is that you're doing and the impact of that on what your goals are, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's why I would say was the benefit or the better part of working with a coach such as yourself like that. That's why it worked for me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I always like to look at things objectively, right? Like you said, take out the emotion out of it, and just look at a broad perspective of what we're consuming and how does that fit into your specific goals. And we're all different, so even though you may be in a group with other ladies, I will still coach you guys individually. We have the community for support, but yeah, everyone is so unique. So how it works for you may not work for someone else, and that's totally fine. The key is really was why I wanted to do the accountability is to make sure that first of all you understand the portions that you're eating, which is the driver for weight loss and fat loss at a high level, but then really trying to strategize and figure out the foods that you enjoy and putting it in a way that will support your goals, but also I like to make it enjoyable so that when it's enjoyable, you don't feel like it's a diet or anything like that. It's actually when it's enjoyable and fun, you want to continue to do it and that's what keeps people consistent. And I enjoyed watching you and you were telling us how even T was succeeding and having enjoying the process with you. And it was great that he was such a good support system as well. What I wanted to ask you next, I guess, can you tell us some of the outcomes for you? I guess, results, both maybe met some metrics, but also non-scale victories, of which we love to celebrate. Can you tell us like some of the benefits and the things that you acquired from this, energy-wise, looks-wise, whatever it may be? Can you tell us about that?
I mean, obviously weight wise, so I lost I think 13 by the end of the program, by the end of Summit, so that would be 6 months doing the program. And then I think I lost another couple after. So I've been able to maintain and stay consistent at 15 pounds down, which is huge for me. Anything I do go forward is kind of less about the weight loss now. Like my mindset has kind of shifted. It's less about weight loss. It's still about eating well, but it's more just about getting toned now and getting a little bit more fit and increasing my activity level.
Right.
I definitely found an increase in my energy, an improvement in my mood just overall. I don't think my mood was bad, but just overall, I was more confident. I was more happy. I obviously wanted to show off what I was wearing because I was like, this is the first time like I feel like I look good, like I wear a crop
Yes.
top for the first time ever, and I wasn't scared. I went out and I wasn't like, oh my God, people are staring at me in a bad way. Um, and again, these are all personal, right? But um, people looked at me. It sounds weird, but they looked at me in a different way. I just felt like people were more receptive to talking to me.
Mhm.
I had a lot of people notice. So that was a big thing, whether or not they saw my transformation online or if they just saw me without having seen my transformation or knowing what I had done. I got a lot of compliments. So it goes to show, there's part of you that felt bad. You're like, oh my God, was I that bad? But then there's another part where you're like, oh, I really have changed and they've noticed. So it's kind of like a happy sad at the same time. Like, I don't think I was getting as sad and offended anymore, but I was more like, oh my God, they noticed my change. So it must have been a really drastic change. I have some people that haven't seen me since. For example, my dad, he lives in Africa, and just on the phone, he's like, "You look so different." Like, and he hasn't even seen me in person yet. You know what I mean? So that was a huge win for me. Overall sleep improved. Just being able to move around and not be so tired all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Health levels, I think everything was about the same. Like I didn't have too many crazy markers that were high, but I think my cholesterol dropped a little bit. Um, Not looking as tired, I guess. I could see the difference in my face, but it was really just like my clothes fitting better. Not so much about going smaller, but just overall feeling better. My whole thing was I never felt good in my own skin. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the weight was. Whatever I hit, I would hit a point where I'm like, I feel good in my own skin. And I think I finally kind of hit that.
Yes.
Um, and then I think my mindset is shifted now towards like, yeah, I still try and eat well. I'm still cognizant of what I'm eating. I'm not tracking at the moment because I'm trying to be, realistic, real life. I'm not going to be tracking every day.
Yes.
Um, and then kind of seeing where I'm at, I'll maybe weigh myself once a week to be like, okay, am I where I am? I must be doing something right during the week if I haven't gained anything. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to make it a little bit more conducive with real life. But um, yeah, that's kind of what I've noticed. Still being aware of what we're buying, what we're eating, knowing when to refeed at times, and then knowing when I'm like, okay, I got to take a step back and do a little bit of a reset. So it's just always on my mind. It's always there in the back of my mind. Though I don't think it's something I'll ever forget. It's just knowing where to kind of let off the brake a little bit,
Right.
and then kind of go back and start working on it again. So it's changed in that sense that it's just I'm always aware of it now.
I love it. Yeah, it's basically now it's like part of your life. It's embedded and ingrained in now. But yeah, absolutely. The pictures that you shared with me throughout the program and the process, there's definitely a big change. And then when I saw you in person not too long ago, I saw it too. I was like, wow, it's amazing. And I'm happy that, if people didn't even know that you were on the program and they just saw you in person and noticed, that's a huge thing too. That means there's actually a definite visible and physical difference. So I guess my question to you now, Rosie, is based on your experience and you've already done because of people seeing your transformation. Many ladies have actually joined because of you, right? They reached out because of your transformation, and they've been a joy to work with. They've been amazing. Um, so. Who would you recommend this program to? Who would be a good fit for this program, do you think?
Obviously anybody that kind of resonates with my story and is, maybe gone through changes, whether it be, giving birth, which you don't even realize how much it'll change your mindset, emotionally, physically, mentally. You know what I mean? I think anybody going through that, I don't think this is solely just about weight loss. I think it's just about like a whole lifestyle change, whatever results you end up getting from this, right? Just being in a group of people, seeing everybody's different stories about why they joined. I really think it's for anybody. As an example, like I know you said my partner T, he naturally lost a few pounds, and he wasn't counting his calories. He was not tracking every day. He wasn't doing any of that. He was eating what I made because that's what I made, unless he wanted to eat differently, right? But I stopped snacking. He stopped snacking. Not because I told him to, because he's like, I just don't want to do it by myself. And, he even saw results, and people were coming up to him at work and saying, wow, what have you been doing? You look great, right? So he never thought he needed this. right? So there are some people I feel that are like, no, I'm good. Whatever I'm doing works for me. And I think that's great. But all to say is I think anybody can join this program. Um, you might have a specific goal you're looking to hit, whether you need to shed a few pounds or tone up or whatever the case is, or maybe you just want to get healthier and really be aware um, of what it is you're putting in your mouth and what makes you healthier. I really say I wouldn't discount anybody. Like I think anybody can do this program.
Awesome.
I would
Okay.
say, sorry, I was just going to say too, like I've seen just from your program before, the reason I joined, I think a couple of the girls I was looking at, I thought were already fit and skinny. But those are the ones that kind of hit me the most, and those are the ones of why I joined. They weren't girls that kind of looked like me body wise, right? So it's like, what was so different? I'm like, oh, she already looked like she had it all. Why did she do the program? Right? But she was also able to get something out of it as well. I think it was Olga that I was looking at, right? So I was just
Yes.
like, something about someone resonated with me. And I think that that's the same for anybody looking to join this program. Everybody has, like you said, a different reason, a different why. And I think anybody could benefit from this.
Awesome. Well, Rosie, that's all I really wanted to ask you. I just, again, wanted to have this conversation because I feel your story would resonate with a lot of people. Uh, and everyone's experience and journey is so different. And just hearing it, because like you said, a lot of times you'll see a transformation online, a before and after, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So just speaking with you and hearing more about your story, I think is incredibly powerful and impactful and may help someone in the future, whether they do a program with us or not. But just, I think, inspiring others to do something great for themselves is really what matters. So I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be your coach, and also for trusting me with many of your friends and family's journeys who have done the program as well. Okay.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. You've definitely changed my life. So I will keep talking about it with as many people as I can. So
Awesome, Rosie.
thank
Wishing
you.
you happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and to your family as well. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Okay. Take
Take care.
care.